Welcome to The Watching Dead, the officially unofficial podcast for The Walking Dead on AMC. I'm Jim.
And I'm Aaron.
And tonight we are covering Season 4 in its entirety in our Season 4 wrap-up. That's Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh.
2 years worth of coverage here.
I talked at length about
Okay.
the first half of Season 4. So,
But I feel like there's enough to tie these two parts together that we need to kind of delve into, the infection and Farmer Rick a little bit.
I'm not going to fight you on it, Jim. So
Okay. I mean, we're not going to cover all of the first half. Certainly.
Sure you don't want to go back to the barn?
There's
a lot of cool stuff
there's a little bit with Sophia and Carol.
There you go. And Jenner. I don't think it's a I don't think you can wrap up the season without talking about Jenner, honestly.
Okay. We'll stick mostly to the second half of Season 4. Is there anything that you want to say before we get right into kind of a general what we thought of the season? Or do you just want to go from there?
Let's talk about the season.
Okay. What did you think of the season as a whole? Where would you put it in the pantheon of Walking Dead seasons? And why? And what parts did you like? What parts did you think sucked?
I don't know why this surprised me that you would ask me that particular
question. This is a
question.
very pertinent question given the topic.
Yeah, and it's something we do all the time for other shows.
Yeah.
But it's very tough. Because usually things kind of broke down on lines. Like, first half of Season 2 was terrible. Second half of Season 3 was terrible. The first 5 episodes of Season 4 were better than average and very interesting and had a lot of nice character moments. The next 3 episodes were horseshit. The finale was very good. And the only thing you can detract from it would just be the fact that the governor was still alive and we were still at the prison. But I didn't hold that against the Season 2 finale. And I found this season very uneven. I appreciate what they're doing with the character moments, but some of the best character moments were underpinned by things that drove me crazy about the Lizzie and Mika stuff. Mm-hmm. And two of my favorite characters, Maggie and Glenn, I actively don't like at this point because of the writing decisions and the way they were chosen to portrayed. So it's very hard for me to say. I want to say it's a notch above Season 2.
Okay.
Quite a bit below. I mean, Season 2 and Season 3, it's just like, do you like a girl with a pretty face and a terrible body, or a awesome body and a terrible face? It's like it's kind of that situation where you only got half of what you wanted in whichever half of the season. Again,
you want a Mr. Potato Head situation where you can rearrange the parts a little bit.
Totally. And what's weird about Season 2 is I suspect that Season 2 could totally be salvaged with editing.
Probably.
In a way that, some of the second half of Season 3 couldn't be. It was just bad, wrong-headed decisions. Mm-hmm. I feel like Season 4 could also be saved with editing. There's just a little bit of tweaking you could do to some of the scenes with the girls to tone down some of the inconsistencies in Lizzie's motivation to give her a clearer arc. Okay. And some of those problem areas also were some of the ones where I think she struggled with the material. And I think just completely excising this backstory of the governor, completely taking it out to the point where he just shows up at the prison. And we cut out every mention of Tara. We cut out every mention of whatever the fuck his main love interest was. I can't even remember her name.
Whose main love interest?
The governor.
Oh, Lily.
Yeah. And we cut all that out. I think like that would probably be the best.
Okay.
So it's when you ask me like Mad Men, Breaking Bad, all those, it's very easy. I can rank them because they all tie together thematically, and it's not like you're eating like a really good chicken salad sandwich and oh my god, a dog turd. It's very much more consistent.
Yeah.
Walking Dead, I just really. it confounds me because you've got such we've switched over showrunners. None of our other shows have done that. It's like,
that's true.
Go back and watch season 1 and then watch the Governor stuff, or watch the second half of season 3, and it's not the same show.
No, it's certainly not.
The finale of this season felt like a finale of the Darabont seasons. It's like a show out of its own time. It's very weird. What do you think?
I have a slightly higher opinion of this season, I think, than you do. I think there are certainly glaring flaws mixed in there. The dog turds are in there in the chicken salad. But the dog turds did not detract necessarily from my overall enjoyment of the season, because I think there was a solid theme running through the season with Rick and Carl, the changes that they're both going through, and the necessity of the experiences that they've had, turning them into the people that they need to be to survive this. I think that was a very, very strong arc for those guys. I think the stuff they've done with Daryl and Beth, and turning characters that I didn't like into characters that I do like.
Yeah.
Beth being number one.
Carol.
Carol being a huge part of that. She's become one of my favorite characters over this season. Yeah, there's the Lizzie and the Mikas in there. There's the 3-arc governor story that I hated. I just feel like season 4 has been an overall better season than either 2 or 3.
And the other thing is,
when looked at as a whole.
I kind of feel like if season 4 had been season 3, I'd have been more like, new showrunner, let's give it a chance.
Okay.
But I've done that every season, and I guess there's a little bit of, it's kind of like I'm going through this with Justified right now. Mm-hmm. You like to see like a strong season, and then they make a leap, and then everything starts clicking, and you don't look for steps backwards at a certain point.
Yeah.
And Walking Dead just feels like something that I'm continually watching this rocket and seeing it get the boost, and then it explodes, and they try again, and this is at the third time. I really like the direction that they've taken to characterization, and overall the writing has improved. And if anything,
yes, it has.
If anything, I think their problems have been with the experience level of the writing staff they have, and who they got in the director's bullpen, that magnify the flaws and the other stuff. And yes, people say there's a lot of wrong-headed decisions by Mazzara.
That now Gimple has to make up for.
had to kind of make up for, but I feel like maybe he should have gone with much more of a scorched earth policy rather than trying to put a positive spin on stuff. And I know he's also saddled with a lot of stuff.
Just have a piano drop on the governor from a window.
I just have a little bit of fatigue on, well, maybe next year will be better.
Okay, sure. I feel you on that. I think they've shown me enough in this season to make me believe that it will, though. Mm-hmm. Whereas in past seasons, they never had. It was always like this last-minute save, like the guy who jumped up over the wall to catch the ball that was going to end the game. Mm-hmm. Whereas this felt like they just played a pretty solid game and won it. And I think in that respect, I would probably rank this right under season 1.
I guess it's got to be better than season 3, just because season 3's finale was such a fiasco. Yeah. The governor just murdering all of his people and just no resolution.
Completely, yeah.
Whereas this finale was exciting, was competently made, tied up a lot of things that, made some of the other weird decisions kind of make sense a little bit in retrospect.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
And just the theme that they had running through this season was so much better. It didn't seem like they had... Exactly. It didn't seem like they had a theme at all in seasons 2 and 3. Coming into this, it very much felt like the evolution of Rick into the leader that he needs to be, and just realizing that. And I think that was very interesting to me.
And I also think that Walking Dead at its best is when it has a clear mission. Season 1, every episode you knew, Rick's trying to find his family.
Yeah.
Rick is trying to get to Atlanta to CDC to get some answers. Season 2, we get to the farm, and we're just going to plop down here, kind of, sort of.
Wait for the zombies to run us off.
Season 3, we get to the prison, same thing. Season 4, we had, for large stretches, there is an outbreak at the prison.
Mm-hmm.
We have to survive this. We have to find a cure. We have to find medical supplies. There was clear missions, and then the governor came, and then the second season, second half, we're like, we got to get back together. We have to find shelter. It felt like a more return to the first season, where we see these guys in uncomfortable situations on the road.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess structurally it bore a lot. It has a lot more positive parallels with season 1 than it did season 2, season 3. Again,
And I mean, with character development, I mean, of course, in season 1 you have to develop characters because we don't know any of these characters yet, and it gets harder and harder to do that because we start to actually know the characters, and there becomes less to tell about their stories. It becomes more about evolving them, and I think they did that really well, despite like having a lot of action pieces as well. I mean, we got a lot of action this season. But I felt it was a great blend between action and character development. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'm looking for out of the show. And I know not everybody is, but for me, that really worked well.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about maybe some more specifics?
What do you got in mind?
I guess, what do you think about the way it kind of all wrapped up? With them in Terminus and kind of...
It's interesting.
Not
I want to see what happens next.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a cliffhanger, right?
Well, I mean, having them locked in a car...
Yeah, but we know that they're going to try to bust out.
Yeah.
That's what we know is going to happen next. How they're going to do that, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe there's the cliffhanger. I don't know. What did you think about how it all wrapped up?
I think it's great. It's a damn shame they can't swear more
or at all.
We get some feedback on that, but no, it's a great finale because I really want to see what happens next, and I still remain engaged. I think it didn't live up quite to my expectations, but I thought it was super strong. I remain completely engaged with Rick and Carl's storyline.
Okay.
I really remain engaged with Michonne, and they did fantastic work making her into a great character this season.
Mm-hmm.
I like Daryl. I mean, the day I don't like Daryl is the day I probably stop watching the show.
Yeah.
If he dies, that's one thing. But if I just stop liking him because of shitty writing or whatever, then it's like this show is lost. It's their Anakin moment where I just cut off its legs and leave it to die in a pool of lava. I couldn't believe it, but I bought into him and Beth's relationship.
Yeah,
I fucking love Carol. I love Tyrese.
Mm-hmm.
I like Sasha and Bob. I despise Glenn and Maggie.
Yeah. That's reversal. That's weird.
I'm entertained by Eugene.
Oh God.
I'm kind of indifferent to Abraham and Rosita at this stage. Rosita. I can't do Latin names. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's well known. Not a fact you need to point out. What was, I guess, your favorite part of this season? What was your favorite action part of this season? Let's say. Do you have a specific scene or anything you can think of?
Man, the stuff the stuff with Herschel in the prison where everything started to go to shit. Lizzie's screaming, Glenn's in danger back when I still gave a shit about him living and dying.
From last half season?
From last half season, and the way it was lit in kind of like this Doom 3 / Half-Life / Aliens flickering fluorescent light. Herschel, Scott Wilson selling the shit about, he's a one-legged dude in an ass-kicking contest, and he doesn't even like kicking asses. That was extremely tense for me. Rick under the bed.
Yes,
Those are two times that Walking Dead actually moved my pulse rate, and I don't think it ever did in season 3, honestly. And so that's good stuff. And the crowning achievement was, Daryl's Rough Riders or Roughnecks coming up upon Carl, Michonne, and Rick. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, the biting of the neck. And
what's in common was all intense personal connections and genuine stakes.
Sure.
And then you compare that to the train sequence that probably cost 10 times more, the train tracks, the tunnel sequence. And I didn't give a shit about it.
Yeah.
Because Glenn put himself in that dumb position. I was kind of rooting for him to be eaten.
Sure.
It's the same thing with the zombie in the well. How can I get worked up about a guy almost getting eaten by a zombie when he fucking put himself into a well and dangled himself? To me, it seems like that shouldn't get out of the writer's room. Okay,
sure.
Why is he going in the tunnel? Well, he really loves Maggie. But he wants to get to her, right?
He sees the wall of zombies, right?
He sees
the
and in fact, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked except for another writing was, well, we'll just pull it out of her ass and have people come to the rescue. That's horseshit.
Sure.
And again, it's big, expensive scene that went nowhere. And I would like to know who's responsible for stuff like that because they need to fucking quit it.
Okay. I think my favorite part was probably Rick under the bed, like you said. That just the intensity and the tension there was just too much to ignore in a show that doesn't often do that. I can think of another time when it did that was back in season 3 with the governor chasing Maggie through that abandoned building in a very slasher flick kind of Freddy Krueger style way. Mm-hmm. Was that Maggie? That was Maggie, right?
Had to be. I'm not sure what you're. I'm flashing.
Andrea. Shit, it was Andrea.
Yes, Andrea. Okay. That's right. I was flashing back to Homeland, and I'm like, wait a second.
Homeland.
Yeah, the third or second season of Homeland featured almost an identical scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I really like those horror type elements in the show, and Under the Bed with Rick was one of those, where you knew something bad could happen here, and you really didn't want it to.
And he didn't. That's the other thing is that's something I could find myself in that situation in a zombie apocalypse. I'm holding up the house, and a bunch of assholes come in, and I'm scrambling to, not just protect myself, but protect the evidence that anyone's there because I know there were some stakes.
Oh yeah.
And same thing with Rick at the campfire getting jumped by Joe and his crew.
Yeah.
Same thing with Herschel doing his best to care for these people, and they're not shutting their door, but he's telling them to keep your fucking door shut, people.
Yeah, he is, and they don't do it.
They were not doing it, but I still care about Herschel.
Sure.
So I guess that's the thing. Put people in genuine danger has consequences that they couldn't avoid it just by having 2 brain cells.
Sure.
That's the key to making compelling action in the show.
Some of the other action pieces I like, if we go back to the first half of the season, when they invaded the Big Lots or whatever it was, those zombies spinning by their intestines from the ceiling, and incredible, absolutely incredible.
Not as much emotional packed because I didn't buy for a minute that anybody I'd care about would die.
Sure, and we didn't care about Beth's boyfriend. So.
No, and neither did Beth.
Neither did Beth. If you can't tell, I'm sick, so my voice is a little rough. Apologize for that. There was another really good scene. Even in this final episode, I think it was the face scrape of the walker on the barbed wire. Yeah. It's not really an action scene per se, but it's just a moment that I really remember out of the show.
The zombie effects of even when it's been shitty, you can always, like I said, even in a train sequence, one of the low points, I still will remember the light shining through that zombie's body.
Ooh, yeah.
The way they shot that. And like you said, the walker tearing his cheek on the barbed wire, not giving a fuck about it.
Mm-hmm. And even just the wall of walkers in that tunnel, that was a really grisly image.
Yeah, I can see why a guy like Greg Nicotero would want to film that. Yeah. But I don't know why a guy like Scott Gimple doesn't throw him in a headlock and choke him out.
Even in an episode that we freaking hated, the governor's arc in the last half of last season, the zombies in the mud pit. Yeah, that was a fairly grisly, scary image as well.
No, they do great zombie work, and the zombie that shot himself in the bathtub and missed, right?
Ooh, yeah, upstairs,
really
in Tara's
disgusting. Place. And all the, this is almost black comedy, but the zombies in the nursing home. You know, trying
Zombies in the nursing home.
Yeah. The governor's trying to get oxygen tanks out of there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you got the guy in a wheelchair that gets up and just falls down because they're fucking a bunch of old and disabled people.
Yeah.
That the zombie doesn't magically cure problems like that, and I thought that was kind of funny in the same way I find like Eugene kind of funny. So yeah, like I said, there are definitely bright points in it, but.
I know we have a lot of listener feedback. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get into their stuff? Because they cover a lot of ground.
Yep.
So, all right, why don't we get into that then?
Mr. Rock and Rock says, I agree with your take on Rick's final words. I've watched enough good television to have developed a bit of a writer's ear, I'd like to think. So when I watched the season finale during the dramatic 5-minute beat where Rick took his "they're gonna feel pretty stupid when they find out" declaration, I predicted he'd say something like they fucked with the wrong guy. Maybe that's why I find the actual line so disappointing. Apparently, according to Josh McDermott, who's Eugene, character actor Andrew Lincoln kept saying they're fucking with the wrong people, take after take, probably because he understood that's what Rick would have said at that point in time. But alas, instead of feeling like Team America, fuck yeah moment, we were tepidly reminded, oh yeah, this isn't HBO, gosh darn it. It's a shame. This show would be kind of epic on HBO.
I think so. I mean, for as much gore as they already show, you add some language and some
other adult situations.
And some other adult situations, some required HBO nudity. I think you have a show that's more fun to watch.
Well, it's
at least for me. I know not everybody appreciates swearing, but I feel like there are times when it's warranted, and that was one, and they couldn't do it.
Plus, I don't think HBO would make a decision like, you've got to be here for at least 2 seasons on a set because we paid money for it.
Sure.
HBO doesn't mind spending money because their whole thing is we're a prestige network that people will pay extra for.
Yeah.
So we spend the money to up that quality. I don't know. It's tough, but because I think every single show that we cover that's on a regular network would be better than HBO.
Yeah.
Mad Men. Oh my God, Mad Men. From the nudity aspect alone. And then you add the language and some of the things they could have pushed on, and even Breaking Bad, same way with rougher language, especially from some of the more villainous characters. I mean, they did. Gus was a godsend because he wasn't that guy.
Yeah, they needed something like that.
But thank God they had that character because it was pretty. I don't know how far you could go with a Crazy 8 and a Tuco with them steadfastly refusing to drop F-bombs and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's silly. You know those guys in that world are going to cuss all the time.
Yeah, and Justified would be even more badass on premium cable. So it's like it's not a knock on Walking Dead, almost everything, but man, that last scene,
it needed it.
If they had ended that or even thrown in a GD, it would have taken that scene to a whole other level. To the fact that can they not say goddamn? Is that
I don't know.
Is that a worse swear word?
I don't know that it's worse than fuck, but I think it's on the same caliber.
It seems like that they do bleep that on basic cable during a movie. Like they won't bleep damn, but they'll bleep
God.
Damn.
Yeah, they bleep the God part too.
Right.
Like they often don't even bleep damn.
Right.
Which I view as the curse word in that sentence.
Right.
But okay, whatever.
The one cool thing, I'll give it up to Firefly for many reasons. Doing Chinese swearing and alternate swearing, same thing with Battlestar Galactica. I wish I would prefer Walking Dead use frack.
Get these motherfracking snakes off my motherfracking plane.
Yeah, totally. Because you get the same effect, the same.
They fracked with the wrong people.
It's got some kind of poetic flow to it.
Sure.
Because at least it's it's the placeholder. You got the placeholder there. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. KDD says, seeing names of in the candle showroom made me think that this might have started as a memorial to those lost in the initial days, weeks, months of the zombie apocalypse, but then evolved to an acknowledgement of those used in later days. There's a surprising lack of walkers in such a sprawling and seemingly insecure area. Is it possible that the term termites? Right. Okay. I like that.
Sure.
I thought they were missing an N, but no, termites. If the termites call their visitors to separate who will be allowed to serve in some capacity, now everyone who lost a loved one has an unlimited supply of chickens to feed them with. There could be a rationale, I'll bet a shaky one, for tossing a stranger through the walking corpse who's once your parent, spouse, or child. Oh. I thought she was going in a totally different direction. I'll talk about my take on this as soon as I'm finished with hers. It might also explain the box and path. The path and boxcar system. A might be for folks with no redeeming social value, i.e. too suspicious or formidable to be subdued and therefore simply slated for starvation or elimination or use in Woodbury-style games. B could then either be the weaker ones that after some time in a box would be more amenable to determinist lifestyle. All who arrive survive in some form. I thought she was going with that they actually feed civilians to walkers as a way to like sustain some kind of large scale walker pit that's keeping walkers away from it. Or they like if a herd of walkers get too close, they get in a car and they strap a couple of screaming people to the back and slowly drive down the road and Pied Piper them all far away.
So you just gave me a really interesting idea. Would a moat full of walkers surrounding your area keep walkers away?
Just a stench of them?
Yeah, because we've established that they disguise the human scent or the human presence.
It disguises an individual human, but I think the smell of that much dead would maybe attract them because they seem to have a herding instinct.
They do that too, yeah. Okay.
But I do like, in a dark, twisted way, the idea of like taking a cattle car full of people. Like if you see a 5,000, how can you sustain against a 5,000 strong herd of zombies?
Yeah.
Well, if you got scouts that can find them, you can go get a cattle car full of people. You know, maybe wound a couple. Jesus, I sound like a monster. And slowly drive that thing past them and take them, 50, 60, 100 miles down the road. Unhook it, and then...
Or down the tracks. Who says that's not what they're going to do?
Or down the tracks, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting.
Moving on to Matt E. says, I'm not sure why AMC lets Breaking Bad have one dropped F-bomb every season, but not The Walking Dead. How would a muted fucking offend in a show where people are being eaten and almost raped? Speaking of Breaking Bad, all will be forgiven if upon breaking out of the boxcar and taking down the termites... Rick looks at Gareth in the eye and growls, "Stay out of my sanctuary." Here's the difference. Well, AMC owns The Walking Dead lock, stock, and barrel.
True.
AMC negotiated with Sony and the Villigan over the rights of the Breaking Bad. So they, like Matthew Weiner, Vince Gilligan has much more creative control than poor Scott Gimple. So I think... and again, if we, some of the early season feedback we got was like, maybe Walking Dead is designed to be mass appeal. Yeah. And believe it or not, there are people that watch a zombie show that would hate nudity and saying the word fuck and goddamn.
But bite a guy's Adam's apple out.
I met one in Chicago and it blew my mind. I'm like, you watch this show, but you are offended when I say goddamn. This is to me, that feels like some part-time religion. But it's serious. Like, there are some people.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people,
that grew up in the Bible Belt and that have that very strong feeling that that's, like, offensive in a way that seeing someone eaten by a corpse is not.
Or a human biting out another human's neck.
Sure.
Jugular vein. How about that?
So if you're creating a product that is going to appeal to the broadest swath of people, you want to avoid anything that would offend those segments.
They did, however, throw up 3 birds this season.
Three birds?
So, 3 birds. Not free birds. 3 birds. Double Daryl and 1 Beth, right?
Okay.
So maybe that's where they got their F-bombs in.
In that case, poorly used.
Agreed.
I think it's more like Just
have Daryl throw 1 bird and put the F-bomb at the end of this.
Or Beth throw a bird, because a Beth bird is like half a Daryl bird anyway.
Okay, so she throws 2 birds, he throws 1.
No. Beth throws the double bird, Daryl just smirks.
Okay.
Or maybe he shakes his fist.
I feel like that was
And
something
then
that
they do a silent.
he
F-bomb.
shakes his fist. Yeah, I don't think that would work, man. I feel like Norman Reedus in that moment was like, you know what? I want to throw up 2 birds here, guys. Because that's what Norman Reedus does. Like, you look at pictures of him, every time he'll throw up birds.
He likes flipping off cameras.
Yeah, he does. So that might have been him. And then they were like, oh, well, damn, we used it up there. Guess we can't.
Well, that's the case. That's just indicative of kind of piss poor planning, but whatever.
True. Okay.
Where was I going at this? Oh, yes. And if people like, yes, we bitch and moan about this, about the mass market appeal. Walking Dead gets 50 million people watching it. Breaking Bad at its height got 5. Mad Men gets less than 3. So it's it's one of those things where it's
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if you had 100 million people watching. Those are better shows than this.
Certainly.
Sorry.
But I don't think AMC gives a shit. Like, like you said,
no, I agree.
Well, we're I can't hear you over this enormous stack of cash. What are you saying?
Yeah.
The sound of me flipping my cash.
Yeah, we have to spray it so that it doesn't get...
Yeah, they're like Huel, just like, luxuriating the comfort. And, like, I can't hear you over how comfortable I am in this massive bed of money.
Yeah, don't want silverfish or whatever they have.
Josh P. says, I know we all love Daryl, but his choice of weapon is kind of a head-scratcher. What is he planning to do in that standoff? Kill one person and then get his tattooed and scarred redneck body riddled with bullets? Unless all the ammo is used up in the crossbow is only good for rabbit, squirrel, and other hillbilly game. Pick up a gun, Daryl. You're no Legolas. It is curious that he doesn't have a backup weapon.
He has a knife.
The crossbow is the ultimate zombie killer, and it's very
is.
practical for hunting game. Hopefully he has separate arrows for each. Or bolts.
Mm-hmm.
But... why doesn't he have like some sort of assault rifle or submachine gun slung over his back and a pistol?
His argument is based on this scenario where he is ringed by 6 guys with weapons, all aimed at his head. How does an assault rifle help you there? It doesn't. It doesn't matter if he has a fucking bazooka. It's not going to help him there. A gun does nothing that a crossbow didn't do at that situation.
Yeah, I guess you're true.
If he's facing
right.
2 guys, okay, maybe I could argue for a gun. But that situation, he's dead no matter what he does.
Well, but what if he came in a situation where Beth is being held by 6 dudes with guns and they are about to do something terrible to her? He's not going to crossbow them all.
No, he's not going to shoot them all either. I don't think you can shoot 6 guys before one of them gets you.
You can, I don't know. You can do a hell of a lot more. You can shoot a hell of a lot more of them than you can with a crossbow.
I agree with that, but either way, you're fucked.
I don't know. You drop the first 2 guy in the head, and then while the others are like looking around trying to figure out where you are, you shoot
that
them.
that only happens in really bad shows where guys look around trying to figure out where those shots are coming from when they saw them happen.
What else did they do? They dropped to the ground. Either way, they're stopped. They're not fucking with. I don't know. Maybe you're right.
2 guys. I'm not going to argue that he couldn't take out 2 guys more effectively with a gun.
Okay.
And probably couldn't take out 2 guys with a crossbow.
Right. I just think
so. There are scenarios where a gun is better. I'm going to agree with him there.
I think he's right in that. And tellingly, during the prison standoff, he was not using a crossbow.
That's true. Yeah.
And maybe he didn't have access to the gun bag when he was fleeing. I don't know.
Okay.
So let's move on. Greg from Maryland says, when Gareth is trying to get Rick into the train car, he tells him that he'll go in the car or they'll kill Carl now. The fact he said now, I think, really showed his hand. We as a viewer know that some bad stuff is on the horizon and that at Terminus people don't plan on capturing these people just to keep them alive. But by saying now, Gareth is essentially telling Rick that they're going to kill Carl anyway. Just do it later if he does what Gareth says. You guys talked about how Rick said that the reason Carl is still alive is because of who he has become. I don't necessarily believe that this is true. The reason Carl is still alive is because of what Carl has become. Herschel and Rick got all over him for shooting that kid at the governor's crew. Herschel's dead and Rick's soft side helped lead to the loss at the prison. Rick bought Legos for Carl, and another kid ended up playing with them while Carl learned how to put together a gun. That kid is dead. Carl tried to get the other kids to realize that the walkers are dangerous. All the other kids are dead. Strong point.
Sure. It seems like it's an effect of what they've both become. I certainly don't think you can say that Rick's transformation has had nothing to do with it, but you're right. You're right. Carl's transformation has had a lot to do with not only himself still being alive, but also his father still being alive. They've kind of been a team there.
Right on. Jake T says, I personally think Beth is somewhere completely different than Terminus. I'd also like to see the return of one of my favorite characters, Morgan. I'd like to know what you guys think the likelihood is that we've yet to see another appearance from Morgan. I give a chance of Morgan return 100%.
100%.
If they ever leave Georgia, then that will drop to 0. But they're still in Rick's backyard for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, mostly. We know Terminus was kind of far away, but we don't really know the direction.
We're a big fan of as far as Beth, we're a big fan of the theory that these guys might have just accidentally ran over her.
Yeah.
Like, so imagine you're in a zombie apocalypse. You're driving down the road. You're traveling at night for whatever reason. And some girl runs in front of you and you hit her. Mm-hmm. You'd probably try. You can't stop moving because maybe they even saw the zombies patrolling around the edge of this thing. You got to keep going. You grab her. Maybe she's unconscious. You throw her in the back of the car and you fucking hightail it.
Yeah.
And maybe she's actually in a coma with somebody that we'll meet up later on. I don't think she's at Terminus either, but I also don't think she's gone.
Yeah. No, she's definitely not gone. We'll see her again. I want to say that the only people who are at Terminus are the people we saw at Terminus, although Carol and Tyrese are a little up in the air. But Beth, I don't see Beth being there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Carol and Tyrese are there because I think they would have been in the A car.
Maybe. I don't know. There are some theories running around about that. Like, apparently, when Rick is burying the guns, there's someone behind them.
What?
In the woods, possibly.
Where did you see this?
I've heard this theory. I don't know. It's maybe an email, maybe Reddit. I can't remember.
Must be because it wasn't an email. I didn't see that. Did they actually show a screenshot of someone standing there?
Not that I saw.
Were they holding a camera or a microphone boom?
That's what I'm thinking.
Because that shit happens.
It does, and it's happened before in this show. So
that's true. We saw the shadow of a microphone guy. In the gut,
and that freaked everybody out too. They were like, "Oh my god, there's someone behind the." Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I just if that's the case and all of his plans get blown up, then I don't know what that does thematically for the show. My gut feeling is I don't like that. But let's move on. Do you have anything more to say about Morgan? What do you think about? I told you what
about
I
him
thought.
returning.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're all for it. Love.
Yeah, the character is good. The actor is great.
Lenny James.
Yeah, I would not mind him coming back. I don't know that it's super
Low Winter
likely,
Sun
though.
got shit canned, so I think that was one of the big reasons. Hell, he might have been back this season.
Yeah,
if it wasn't busy doing that.
All right, well maybe he'll be back.
Nope. Moving on to Eric G says you were critical during a couple season forecasts about undead burnt walkers. For example, the smoking walkers in the Grove and the burnt Crispies in the Governor's Walker pits. Your criticism was regarding the apparent inconsistencies during season 1 and 2, where we saw dead walkers in closed cars without visible head trauma. For some reason, you assume the walkers in seasons 1 and 2 died from baking inside the vehicles.
Oh,
that's because
not for some
Glenn
reason.
Mazzara said that.
He said that in interviews. So
because he's a liar and the spawn of Satan.
I won't go that far. I will say, however, that he probably didn't have an idea of how those people died, and they just thought it was cool.
Well, he might not be the son of Satan, but it's a fact that he washes his socks in his kitchen sink.
He does.
And you can't trust a man that does that.
No.
Anyway, he says, I think you need to refocus your energy on all the other bullshit, ever-changing Walker rules. Isn't it plausible that the 1/2, 1/2, not 1/2, 1/2 walkers were never walkers? That is, that they never died and never turned? Isn't it plausible that every single living person was a carrier of the Walker virus and could have just died and not reanimate? Mm-hmm. This especially seems possible during the initial outbreak. I don't believe that because the show's told us that everyone was infected.
Yeah, well, everyone can be infected. I don't know that everyone is affected the same way. Like, if you look at any disease, there are always people who die from it and people who don't die from it and people who are less affected, more affected.
But these people are fleeing the zombie apocalypse and they died in their car.
No. But I think what he's saying is just the general idea that everyone turns into a zombie. We've never seen anyone not turn into a walker.
But Jenner said everyone carries the virus.
That's fine. Everyone there are people who get the flu and die. There are people who get the flu and
or maybe
barely
it's like
get
a
a
telephone
cough.
game. He whispered in Rick's ear, "Not everyone carries the virus," and
Rick
Rick
said,
heard, "Everyone carries the virus." Oh my God!
No. I just think the Bible of this show has said everyone who dies turns.
Oh well, there's a New Testament edition of that Bible that says we'll just make up whatever the fuck we want to.
Sure.
And roll with the rule of cool and sometimes the rule of suck and kind of rough ride it. So I was a Bible thumper of the show Bible during the Darabont era.
We've seen in Darabont era, we've saw walkers climbing fences.
Badly,
but climbing fences, and this
see-
time they can't. They can't get into a fucking truck.
But I kind of like that, and the fact that a walker would pick up a rock, and the fact that a walker would have flashes of memory, like the little girl walker that picked up the teddy bear.
I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm saying it's different.
Okay,
things have changed, and I don't, and I think that's just a function of we don't really want to stick to these rules because they make things too difficult.
When we talk about the Walker Bible, I don't think we've ever explained this, but before the very first episode came out, one of the things, there was an interview where they said there was like 12 zombie rules.
Yeah.
That they zombies could not run, and there's a lot of other obscure things like recently fed zombies could be docile, kind of like a big cat that's had a big meal that they could see a human but they wouldn't necessarily chase them.
That's a hard one to convey on screen.
And I also think it's something they've completely abandoned because we've seen walkers that have been feasting and then they see new people and it's like so I don't know.
Okay.
So it sounds like it's a split decision. It's a 1-2. Co-hosts agree with your theory, and others are saying, I don't know. I just don't feel like there's consistent zombie science at this point, which is fine.
I don't either. All he's saying is we pick on this one aspect of it, but we don't pick on
it. But that's
the
mostly
other
us
aspect.
making fun of Mazera.
Yeah,
which we enjoy. It's our sport. It's our sport around here.
Sure.
Some people.
It gets harder and harder the longer he's been off the show.
No, still real easy for me.
Okay.
Tom in Volkswagen.
Tom in a Volkswagen. Needs to be in a Hyundai. He should change his name. Tom in a Hyundai.
Yeah, if you want to survive a Walker apocalypse, you got to be in a late model Hyundai.
Yep.
He's a little disappointed in this, I think. He says, I'm flabbergasted that there's any love being shown to The Walking Dead. This show has lowered your standards.
Oh.
It is routinely so bad that when on the rarest of occasions it's a half-shiny turd, you guys glow. Do the simple test, using the list below all of them active dramas, and compare The Walking Dead to the questions that follow. House of Cards, Orange is the New Black, Mad Men, True Detective, The Americans, The Bridge, Hannibal, Justified, Game of Thrones, Boardwalk Empire.
I haven't seen half of those.
Really? I
haven't seen Hannibal. I haven't seen Orange is the New Black. What was?
I haven't seen a new season of Hannibal, and that's another one that I'm pissed that it just missed or cut off.
Haven't seen any of the new American stuff.
All right. Which is the poorest writing? Of all of those, I don't know that any of them I could say. I guess The Bridge had some really questionable decisions for some.
I think he wants The Walking Dead to be added to that list.
Okay, sure. But by far, okay, Walking Dead, which is the most predictable? Walking Dead.
Is it? I don't know.
Which is the greatest number of what the fucks?
Definitely Walking Dead.
Definitely Walking Dead. Which has the least developed characters? That's an interesting question.
Well, it's probably
still The Walking Dead.
Well, no, it's probably one of the shows in season 1, I'd imagine. Because we've got a lot of development at this point.
Yeah, I gotta say that that's one character I don't get that as a criticism at this point.
They've stepped up their game with Gimple, I think, a lot. And though the last season and a half, I think it's been strong in that department.
Which has the poorest acting? He probably in The Walking Dead because there's not a lot of bad performances in the other shows. There just isn't.
But I mean, look at some of the acting in this show is absolutely stellar.
So Which has the worst acting, the poorest acting?
Well, okay. Are we counting all the kids?
Well, we have to,
Because if
right?
we're counting Lizzie, then that right there makes it the worst acting. Because I hated her
the
stuff.
thing. Here's the thing. It's like, when you're talking about football, almost everybody in the NFL can put forth a competitive offense or defense. Well, not everybody. But what separates the great teams is their depth. And like when you get to special teams, because that's where kind of the extras lie. I think great dramas are the same way. Almost everybody can scrabble together a main credits level cast of decent actors. But when you get to the extras and the satellite characters, and there was some really bad secondary characters. The hippie couple, terrible. We had problems with the child actors. I'm not going to harp on that. I'm trying to think of some of the other guys. Some of the flunkies that the governor hung around with were really bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of lump all these shows into tiers, and Walking Dead obviously doesn't hit the A tier. It is not a Mad Men. It is not a Breaking Bad. But it certainly hits the B tier. I don't think any of the main cast is less than a really good actor. I would not call any of them even just good.
I mean, so Tom here has got basically a consensus top 10 list of television. I mean, maybe you'd throw in, Masters of Sex in there, which I've seen and is very good. Maybe you've thrown in some things I haven't seen, like Broadchurch. But you've got probably top 10, top 15 list there. I don't know that a Walking Dead, in its first season, I think Walking Dead was one of the top 10 television shows. And then it's always kind of shown flashes of being able to do that. Right now, it's struggling to hang in the top 20. Is Walking Dead a top 20 TV show?
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't seen all these shows, so it's hard for me to say if Walking Dead is better than The Bridge, because I don't know. I haven't seen The Bridge.
Right now, it's not.
Okay.
I mean, is the best Walking Dead episode better than the best Bridge episode? That's a more interesting question.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I feel like The Walking Dead is one of the better shows on television.
I'm not going to argue there.
So how do you... Tom says it is a fucking piece of garbage, essentially.
Yes.
I mean, look at his comments. He's saying it is worthless, it has lowered your standards, and...
I don't believe it's lowered my standards. I do grade it on a curve. I have to.
Yeah, we grade it on the Walking Dead scale when we give it a number.
I'm
just saying this show is not bad.
No.
In any sense of the word.
No.
I can think of a lot of bad shows, and even ones on AMC. Hometown Security was a giant piece of shit.
Well,
I don't like Comic Book Men.
Let's stick to dramas, because that's what he's talking about.
Okay, Falling Skies, far worse. A show that I've done video casts on, far worse than The Walking Dead.
Right.
Both in acting and story and everything.
Okay. I mean, I don't argue that. I mean, I just don't think that it's lowered my standards. I think that I do definitely grade on a Walking Dead scale. But I will say The Walking Dead is the only show we've ever actively had a debate about whether we should keep covering it.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, if I'm being real. The thing that's always kept me coming back is I've always had a lot of fun covering The Walking Dead because we cut up and we make jokes, whatever. This second half season, I didn't have as much fun with.
It's because it wasn't as bad.
Or wasn't as bad in the same way. Also, it's like I don't feel like it. I don't know. Part of my fun is being able to do funny Rick accents, and there wasn't a lot of Rick in this season.
That's true. Yeah.
That's actually something I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Before we get to the spoiler section, I might as well do it. We actually had a conversation with a listener, Tia Marie, and she asked us about why there wasn't as much Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you think that is... I think she asked us, were we aware of them doing other work? Or was AMC trying to be cheap and, keep them out of episodes so she didn't have to pay them? And I don't think their contract allows for that. But then the conversation evolved to, what if this half of the season was a test run to see what the audience reaction would be to a reduced amount of Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus, who are got to be by far the most expensive actors, especially if they have to renegotiate their contract.
Oh, yeah, easily.
And we've talked about, Norman Reedus being at the end of his contract, and he was in less than half of the episodes, I believe. Or no, he's in exactly half of the episodes.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
And the show still got monster ratings. Same thing with Andrew Lincoln. What if AMC is actually seeing if they could kill off one or both of these without renegotiate their contract just to save money?
Seems like an AMC thing to do.
I can't see. I mean, I'm sure it would still get ratings, but if they kill off both Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln, it would be a fiasco. I mean,
oh yeah, who's left?
They're two of the best or better actors. They're two of the more charismatic characters. I don't know where killing Rick would do to Carl's story.
Plus, where does that leave you with leaders in this group? I don't think Glenn's a leader. I don't think Carol. I don't think Carol is the right type of leader.
I think Carol's absolutely a great leader.
She can lead. I think she might lead them down a bad path. She hasn't learned the lessons that Rick has learned.
I think Rick has done that plenty good on his own.
He has, but now he's learned those lessons.
Rick has made mistakes that's killed people. Well, so is but you don't think Carol has? I mean, that's what I thought was naked hypocrisy on Rick's part, kicking her out for something that he himself would do. He himself would make a unilateral decision without consulting the group and piss everybody off. And, again, I didn't like what Carol did, and I think she's learned from that. But I think she, just like Rick, is one of the ones that can do what needs to be done to preserve the most of the group. She's not afraid to do what she thinks needs to be done. A lot of the other group is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just scared because she seems to take action based on her thoughts very quickly.
I kind of feel like the same thing about Rick. I don't see the difference between that and Rick at this point.
Okay, I mean maybe not. Tyrese is not a leader. Bob is not a leader. Sasha's not a leader. Maggie's not a leader.
I think Bob could be a leader.
Could be, but he's not right now.
Yeah, Tyrese in this instance, he seems to be too much of a pacifist.
Yeah. The only real viable leader is Carol, and I don't know that...
Carl for president, 2015, man.
Yeah, I don't know about
2016,
that.
Whatever.
I just don't think they can kill both of them. They need at least one of them. But you're right. It could be they're testing the waters to see which one scores higher.
It'll be interesting because this will all have to be negotiated probably starting next year.
But I don't feel like Daryl's a leader either. He has always been a follower.
Yeah, I think that he could believably make a jump to leader though.
Yeah,
'cause he's been through some shit this year and last year, and he's had Carol saying none of them are better than you, and Beth has told him the same thing. I think he might be starting to believe it.
Maybe Carol could become leader, and Daryl could become his second. Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Like he is to Rick, or like he was to Rick when they were grouped up.
So Carol leader, Daryl her lieutenant.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Get rid of Andrew, who's got to be the most expensive, right? I mean, he's a film actor.
Well, so is Norman Reedus.
Yeah,
both about the
but
same
he's kind
level.
of like a cult favorite, whereas I think Andrew Lincoln was a mainstream film actor. Yeah.
Name one film he's been in other than Love Actually, which
I
is
don't know.
itself like a chick flick cult film. It's become big because everybody loves it for Christmas and everything. But
yeah, I don't know.
So there you go. I think they're equivalent.
But he's in the romantic flicks that I don't watch. So how am I going to see him?
I don't know.
And he's British. I don't know. I just assume like he's the hardest to get on the convention circuit. So you got to think he's the busiest and most expensive.
Although I don't know. I think they're both on the same, but I don't think this is an interesting conversation to have. So
all right.
Who's the bigger Who's the bigger B+ list actor?
I certainly like Norman Reedus better.
Really? I don't. As people, I think they're both pretty cool. All right, let's move on to the promo section. Before we get into some light spoilers for next year, Big thing is, thanks everybody for supporting us. We've got this new subbable things, subbable.com /bald move. One thing I haven't talked about is there's actually a percentage there that shows like where we're trying to get on a percentage of monthly total. And it's like right now at 12%, and maybe people are depressed or, worried about that.
Yeah, I am.
If we hit 100%, that would mean that Jim and I are essentially fully funded at a sustenance level. We don't have to worry about rent and food.
Yeah.
And, we're not having a ton of fun at that point. But we also have other revenue streams. And the reason we did have our life savings and our retirement accounts and business loans is because we knew it would take a while to build that. And we're actually super happy that we've gone from 0 to 12% in basically a month.
Yeah.
And it's been 100% our Walking Dead fans so far because we just kicked off Game of Thrones and Mad Men. So thank you for everybody that's gone in and done that support.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the other thing is that when we announced that, you had just quit your job, but it was a month before I was able to quit mine. I just started working on Bald Move full-time this month. So, we've got a lot of exciting things. We're going to be doing Fargo coming up.
Yep.
We've got the House of Cards expanded versions coming out very soon. We've got, Game of Thrones and Mad Men are going into full swing. We've got a lot of other things that are going to be coming out this summer. And again, so happy that you guys have chosen to support us in this. Just wanted to again one more time mention subbable.com /bald move. It's like Kickstarter on layaway because you can subscribe to us on a one-time or recurring basis, and you can bank each one of those however much money you put in to save up for larger perks, or you can exchange them for the less expensive perks, or do whatever you want with them. But you don't have to lay out $50 for a particular perk. You can do $5 a month for 10 months, and boom, you can save up for it. So it's kind of a cool way for you to help fund us, but also get some interesting and fun rewards back. There's always Amazon.com. Amazon.baldmove.com. If you're shopping online, please use that link. It helps us so much, and it literally costs you nothing. If you're buying stuff anyway, using our link just as a way to give us money. And if you can't do any of those things, at least give us a review on iTunes. Share some of our posts that you find enjoyable, or a podcast on your social media network of choice. All that stuff helps us grow the network, which will eventually, increase our traffic, increase our revenues, and keep me and Jim making these podcasts. We're committed to making them free. We're never going to charge for them. But if, basically people said, we want you guys to do more stuff, and we're trying to do more stuff, and this is the way it's going to happen. So thanks for supporting us. Hope you guys follow us to some other shows. Please check out baldmove.com or facebook.com /baldmove or Twitter @baldmove, because when we start new shows this season, that's where we're going to be announcing them, and maybe one of them will tickle your fancy. So the Walking Dead spinoff, I don't know if that's coming out this year or next, but that's something we'll be covering day one.
Yep. Breaking Bad spinoff as well. Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. We'll be covering that day one.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. And again, best place to find out all that stuff, baldmove.com. We've got all our affiliates, Personal Arrogance, The Because Show, Up Yours, Downstairs. You know about all that. I've talked enough. Let's get into the spoiler section.
All right. Should we take it out and do some music and then get into it?
Yep. That's what we do.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next year if you're not into spoilers, or in about...
Not next year. This October.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Season 5. How about that?
There you go.
And until then, I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
And we're back with our final spoiler section of Season 4. What do we have?
Graham H says, great season finale. Looking forward to next season. What I'm really looking forward to is the Alexander's Safe Zone, most noticeably the character of Douglas Monroe. He is a very interesting character in the comics and will be the most important casting choice going forward.
What is interesting about Douglas Monroe? I don't know who that is.
I'm not entirely sure that I would go along with Graham as far as he's the most important casting choice going forward. I think that if they're going to go with Negan, that's a super important casting choice. Jesus is a very important casting choice. The King character, whose name's escaping my brain, is a very important casting choice. So Douglas is the leader of the Alexander Safe Zone, and he's a former senator, or maybe he's a representative.
Okay.
And he seems like an effective peacetime leader, but he might not have, or at least Rick judges him as not being strong enough to be an effective leader in the zombie apocalypse, and kind of thinks he's soft, and they clash somewhat. But yeah, I speaking of Negan, and speaking of the fact that this is an HBO show, and since I'm thinking of it, I want to talk about this anyway. Negan's defining characteristic, other than the fact that he's brutal, is he fucking swears all the fucking time.
Yeah.
He fucking swears the way we fucking people leave us fucking negative fucking iTunes reviews say we swear. I don't see how you pull that character off. And when we were talking about Gus before, I had this idea that I want to talk about in a spoiler section, and Graham here reminded me, what if they took Negan in a totally different direction? He's the same brutal, dictatorial guy, but he can't abide people swearing.
Huh. Yeah.
Maybe he is a dyed-in-the-wool Bible Belt kind of guy, doesn't tolerate his men, raping, stealing, and maybe he's got a skewed way of looking at stealing and taking advantage of people that way, but he just, anyone says the word damn and he just beats him to death.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty interesting for a cable TV show. That this guy's there's this normal dude, and then someone swears and he flips out and beats him to death.
Yeah, it seems like a meta commentary.
And it would also, I could see that appealing to Kirkman's remix nature, that he's flipping that on its ear.
Yeah.
And it would be, I don't see how the comic fans could hate him for that. And
yeah, I think the comic fans will always just want the characters they know, but...
Yeah, but I think comic fans appreciate a sense of humor and a skewed way of looking at things, and that's just enough that I think it would appease them, because you can't do that Negan on AMC.
You can't.
I don't even sound like he's talking in Morse code.
Sure, yeah. Can you even do that on HBO? I know you.
Oh, of course you can.
I know you can, but would they? I mean, from what I've heard, as much as
you've
they
never
swear,
seen Deadwood.
I've never seen Deadwood.
Okay, well that everyone on Deadwood speaks like Negan, essentially.
Oh, okay, all right. Then never mind. I've just never seen a show where
Calamity Jane. My God,
there's constant cursing like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oz was like that too.
Never saw Oz.
Yeah, Oz. It's Oz is a rough one.
I have no interest in Oz.
Okay,
honestly.
well, I tried. I watched the whole first season, and it's just one of those things where it's just aged.
Yeah,
it's so dated. That it's tough for me to get into, just because I respect it for blazing the trail for this long form serialized drama.
Yeah.
But just I can't go back and watch Hill Street Blues and Saint Elsewhere because of the production values and all that. It's just, you can see the strains at the budget. So anyway, like I said, he's definitely an interesting character. I don't know he's the most pivotal one, and I don't know that we'll get to the Alexander Safe Zone even next season. One thing I've got hope for, I wish I mentioned this in a non-spoiler version of the cast, but I saw on Reddit some guy had snuck in and taken pictures of the Terminus set, and that is just an abandoned building. I mean, it looks... Is
it the actual Terminus in Atlanta?
I don't know, but they've...
Because it looked... The thing they show on screen looks exactly like the Google Earth picture
Okay,
of the real Terminus.
It probably is. And there's like there's no security on it.
Yeah.
There's no fences keeping people. There's just plywood nailed over the actual spelled out Terminus.
On the windows, yeah.
So that gives me hope that they won't be afraid to do a 2 or 3 episode arc, shit can it, and move on. Because the one thing I don't want is them to, settle Terminus into being the Alexander safe zone. Although, honestly, I could see them making that work too. I just don't want to see a strife with the Terminus folk for all of a half season.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Amanda D has a comic spoilery long shot prediction about season 5. Bob takes the place of Dale from the comics as he is tainted meat for the hunters. Back when Bob, Sasha, and Maggie were in the fog, Bob got bit in his bandage. Instead of that just being a throwaway plot device to get Sasha to hug him, it would be more interesting for him to have actually gotten bit and be dying in super slow-mo just so he can offer himself up as tainted meat and giving the others a chance to escape. That would be extreme slow-motion death. And also, I think that you can't do the hunters now that you've got... the Terminus people are cannibals.
They are. Absolutely 100%.
But in a different way than hunters. They're a snarer and not a hunter. And I don't know that you can... I don't think you can do both. Like a group that's hunting. Because the other thing that's telling is that Rick's they don't know who we're fucking with moment is just out of the comics for the hunter storyline. And he's making the same badass leap. The hunters don't have this. Just like I said, if he meets Negan and then they do the hunters, it doesn't work. Because the whole tension of the hunters is you think, oh shit, Rick and his group, how are they going to get out of this? And then you as the reader find out how ruthless these characters really are and how capable they've become without you even knowing it. The trope is your heroes are always in trouble against superior odds and they somehow manage. This is a complete inversion. This is the heroes being like, who the fuck are these punks thinking they're going to come up and roll on us?
Yeah.
And devastating them. And that's what was kind of really groundbreaking and cool about that storyline. Obviously, I think that's taking place in Terminus. So that's a solid theory because I kind of had a slight problem with Bob getting bit on the bandage and nobody...
Sure, and if they can turn that into something that, is a nod to the comic books and works out as well as the comic books did, I think that'd be great.
Now, I'm going to put my evil Aaron hat on.
Okay.
What if he is eaten and bitten and he's stuck in that boxcar with them and he says, look, guys, I've been turning a zombie the whole time. I want you to use